What would you have to do to make it unreasonable for you not to hit $1 million a month? What if for 2 to 3 years straight, 2 to 3 years, not 7 days, not 14 days, 2 to 3 years, what if you operated at 100% of your full potential for 2 to 3 years straight? At that point, and I mean, you just went guns a blazing, you were doing your absolute best, your routine was 100% aligned to make yourself $100 million, your sleep, your diet, everything was in sync and in order for, and it would be absolutely unreasonable for you to not hit $1 million a month. In this video, I want to cover exactly that. What would make it unreasonable for you to not hit all your financial goals? Okay, if you were able to squeeze as much juice out of the universe as possible. For example, your routine 100% optimized. And I mean 100%. Like what if you woke up at the exact same, at the perfect time every single day for 2 to 3 years straight? Now granted, I'm sure you'll have some vacation, some time off with family and whatnot, like normal things. We're not robots here or anywhere for that matter. But with that being said, your actual work time, what if your routine, you never slept in on days you were supposed to work? What if it was 100% optimized for 3 years straight? Your sleep, what if you slept like an Olympic athlete? What if your sleep was like Brian Johnson at like, elite tier levels, and because of that you had elite energy, your REM, your deep sleep, you felt recharged to be able to be the most productive version of yourself. Your diet, what if it was 100% optimized? What, and I spelled this wrong here. What if it was 100% optimized and you had bags of green juice or bags of kale or whatever diet you like to consume? Maybe it's carnivore, whatever, but it was organic, it was lean, it was exactly what you needed to fuel your body, the best supplements in the world. What if you had that for 2 to 3 years straight? You became the best version of you. So again, of course, it depends on your business model and the opportunity and the leadership and your team and the product and the service. You're not going to just make money from this. You're not just going to make money because you sleep well and you eat clean. Like obviously not, but it's the fundamental fuel. Like if you're not an elite entrepreneur in the sense of like focus and mindset and you're not disciplined, it doesn't matter if you have the best business model in the world because you're not going to be able to capitalize on it. And the opposite is also true. If you have a very difficult business model, but you are optimized to your 100% full potential, it's not guaranteed you're going to make money there, but at the very least, you can do your absolute best, right? And unless you have a crazy, just ridiculous business model, like you're trying to compete with Boeing or, General Motors or something like that, you're literally starting an airplane company or a car company where it's like the hardest business model ever. If you're doing ecom or like an agency, like it's doable. You can make this happen as long as you are operating at your full potential, right? Your gym is 100% optimized. Your environment, you're around other people who are becoming millionaires or are already millionaires in the process. 7, 8 figure business owners, like you're around these people, you feel energized, you feel optimized. Okay. Again, guys, I'm not just talking about working hard, right? Like I just want to be clear. I'm not saying like you kill yourself for 2 or 3 years, you never see the sunlight, you never step outside because you're always working. That's not what I'm talking about, right? We're talking about how is it unreasonable for you to like in a decent business model. Again, you determine what a decent business model is, right? Like this is gonna a lot of opinions, but like you can be obviously there's just so many business models out there. I can't determine for you what's a reasonable one and what's a bad one. Like you have to determine that yourself as an entrepreneur. But as long as the model is decent, right, and if there's opportunity and it's not too saturated or whatever, if you optimize yourself, you should be able to hit $1 million a month in 3 years. If and this is a big if, again, it could be more, it could be 4 or 5, but if you are operating at your full potential, okay? Again, I'm not just talking about working hard. I'm talking about optimization, okay? I'm talking about being the best version of you right now. Because if you have terrible standards and terrible work habits and terrible everything, it's not reasonable for you to hit $1 million a month in 3 years. Just to be clear, I'm talking about optimization. So being that best version of you right now. A lot of people, what they think is they think, okay, I'm just gonna work really hard right now and I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna hope, and then hopefully in 3 years, I'll be that person. And then I can start acting like that person, right? They have it all backwards. When in reality, they have to start acting like that person today in order to even have a chance of getting there in 2 or 3 years. So if that didn't make any sense, just rewind back 15 seconds and I'll explain it again. How can you be so good? All your financial goals are inevitable. And don't worry, if it's your first time on this channel, I'm going to give you an exact step by step plan, like I do in every single video, So you can actually take one thing from this video, preferably more, but at least one thing you can actually start implementing in your life to actually get better. Because if the people that watch this channel, if your life could actually become better by watching the, like, tangibly, not just a 15-minute motivational speech, you feel good for 5 seconds because all the dopamine rush, but then tomorrow you don't do anything, and then 3 weeks later you forgot you even saw that video in the first place. I don't want that to be this channel. I want you to take something, implement it, and then you can come back and then you can let me know how it went. Okay? Most people, they try to achieve their goals as who they are instead of who they need to be. And this is so important, right? Most people, they try to achieve their goals as the current version of themselves. Like, let's say I've never worked out in my life. Like, I have, but this is just an example. Let's say, as an example, I've never worked out in my life and I want to bench 2 plates, right? Well, in that situation, like, what most people would do is they would approach the gym as the person who doesn't really know how to lift, and they would just approach it as themselves, right? And they think, okay, let me just go every once in a while. Let me kind of have, like, maybe a little plan, but nothing too crazy. And they'll do that and they won't get any results, and they'll be surprised as to why. When in reality, even though they don't have any experience, they have to approach the gym as if they were that bodybuilder already, going 4 to 6 times a week, having everything planned, having their meals prepped, sleeping right, taking the right supplements. If they did that on day one, they would get to their goal so much faster. Okay, and that's what you have to do. You have to become that person first for 6 months, and then the outcome will follow, not the other way around. So if we go back to the title of the video, how can you make it unreasonable not to hit $1 million a month? Well, you have to become the person where, I mean, as simple as that. It's just, you are so disciplined, your routine is so on point, you have so many connections, your skill set in terms of ads, in terms of marketing, your marketing skill set, your leadership skill set is so advanced. I mean, you have no, it's inevitable for you not to hit that. I remember Alex Becker, he was saying that for him, and Alex Becker, the founder of Hyros, a company's worth, I think, over $150 million. He kept saying, because he has three skill sets, it's almost impossible for him not to hit $1 million a year. And those three skill sets were running ads, the ability to run ads, the ability to do sales calls, and the ability to basically create the right offer in the marketplace as far as, like, the niche goes, and, like, what you're actually selling, right? So, like, um, you know, Facebook ads for dentists would be an example of an offer, right? So he was really good at finding specific areas of the market that were underserved and underutilized, or very niche, and being able to create a good product and service for that. That's one of his skill sets. So when you combine all those three, like a PB&J sandwich, Facebook ads, sales calls, and the ability to find the right niches, it was basically impossible for him not to make $1 million a year, according to him. So let me ask you this right now, and this is going to be very personal, but for you, like, in your heart of hearts, are you operating right now at 100% of your full potential? Like, in the past 30 days, did you operate at 100% of your full potential? And again, I'm saying 100%. Guys, it's impossible, right? But, like, 98%. Did you operate at 98% of your full potential in the past 30 days? And if the answer is no, then you have to ask yourself, why not? Like, why? Like, think about it. You're on this earth for a finite amount of time. Who knows how long that's going to be? Like, if you're trying to achieve your goals and you're not giving it your absolute all, like, think about the best athletes in the world. Kobe Bryant, I'm a basketball person, so, like, Michael Jordan, like, these people, they're giving it their all. And there's an entrepreneur right now in your same industry, in your same field, who is making all the money you want to make. He's living the life that you want to live, and they're giving it 100%, and you're giving it 79%. As long as you continue to give it 79%, you're going to continue to struggle. What you want to do is you want to be so powerful and so potent. What you want is absolutely inevitable. So you have a process. You have a bulletproof process, a specific time you wake up every day, a specific morning routine. You have accountability coaches around you. You have people tracking your sleep. You have accountability coaches. You have people, like, even watching you on your diet and taking track of, like, what are you putting into your body every single day. Guys, this is very, very, you're prioritizing rest and recovery. You're enjoying your life, right? You can still enjoy your life. It's not about being a robot, but you gave it 100%. Like Kobe, after he retired, he didn't have any regrets because he knows he gave it 100%. He knows that everything he put into the game was absolutely the best of the best that he could have possibly done. So let's map out your villain. Now, this is where the rubber really meets the road. We're going to map out your villain. Now, chances are, my other videos, maybe you would have done this before, but this is a great reminder, if you have done it, to redo it. Because you need to redo it because this is your self-improvement and your personal mastery. And if you've never done it, even better. And again, this comes from, there's a lot of really good people that have pointed this out. Andrew Tate is one of them, who this is one of the things he uses to get really motivated and to be able to succeed at a very high level. But there's a lot of really good models from all types of successful people, from billionaires to world level athletes to everybody in between. So if there was a different version of you, right, in a parallel world, like imagine your same life, there's a parallel universe, right? The multiverse theory, which by the way is a real theory in quantum science. I'm not going to go into that rabbit hole. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. It's a real scientific theory that might be plausible. If they operate at 100% of their full potential and they achieved all your dreams and goals, like it's the same version of you, like you, same height, same hair color, same eyes, same situation, same birthday, they just did everything they were supposed to do and they did it at a very high competent level and they achieved everything you wanted to achieve, how would they operate? Okay, like you want to map this person out, you want to give them a name. Maybe it's your name, maybe it's a different name. Maybe just give them a name, give them, like, imagine their body, like visualize their physique. How would their physique look? Would they have 20 pounds of muscle more than you do? Right, imagine their, like, visualize their social circle, visualize their charisma, visualize the house they live in. Like what could your life be if you operated at 98% of your potential for 3 years straight and you were just the best of the best of the best, the standard that you held yourself to. So again, we're being realistic here. I'm not saying you're gonna go to Mars and have a mansion on Mars or anything, like, or I don't know, have an underwater mansion or something that's just not attainable, right? This is very attainable because it's you. You know what you're capable of, right? So, and deep down, I think everybody has an instinct, like you have a feeling of what you're capable of, right? So you want to map this out, guys. And this is just a couple quick questions, and I'll actually have a document you can fill out here. But like, what time would they go to sleep? That person, what time would they wake up? What would their daily process and routine look like? Would they wake up at 4:30 in the morning? Would they go to bed at 8 o'clock at night? Would they, like, what would they do? And you want to model that person. So imagine that person for a second. Like, what would their beliefs be about the world? This is a very interesting, mental exercise. Like that version of yourself. Would they believe that 20K is a lot of money? Would they believe that most people are destined to be average? Would they believe that life is depressing and life has no abundance and freedom? Again, you want to think about what they would believe. Like, what would they believe about this? What would they believe about that? What would they believe about politics? Like, would they even pay attention to it? Would they see it from a different perspective? What would they believe about relationships, about friendships? And if you're doing this correctly, you should see a big contrast between what you believe in now and what that person believes. And again, this is all very subconscious, right? It's going to be things that you don't even recognize, very small differences, very small nuances that you might not be able to even pick up immediately. But you want to be able to contrast this and model that person. Like that person, that version of you, how will they walk? How would they talk? How would they present themselves? If they had to give a speech, how would they do the speech? Like, would they have confidence in their voice? Or would they kind of be a little bit shy, a little bit meek? How would they speak? How would they walk? How would they talk? You want to model that person. Behave like that person now. Okay, and the way you do that, by the way, is you put it on a document that you review every single morning in the morning to remind yourself. This is all fun and dandy right now, but I promise, like 3 days, you're gonna forget you ever saw this video. So you have to put it in actual paper and remind yourself every single day. By the way, this is what our accountability service, which again, there's a free trial for it and everything below, but this is what we help our clients build with our accountability service. But the main thing, and this is the fun part, is you want to have a competition between you and this person. You and this person are going to constantly be battling because you're battling right now. The problem is that person is kicking your ass, and your dream life is so unattainable for you right now. Every day they are beating you. They are beating you every single day until you beat them. If you've ever seen a superhero movie, guess what? This is your villain. The villain is stronger than the hero. If the hero could just kick the villain's ass, then there's not much of a movie, is there? It's kind of boring. The villain is stronger than the hero for 80% of the movie until the hero finally wins in the end. That's how it typically goes, right? So what you want to do is you want to have a competition. You're playing a game. And I'll tell you the rules of the competition in a second. Let me just organize this document right here. Okay. The first to 100 points wins the game. So you have to beat your villain. And the way you beat your villain, you want to either match or outperform your villain. So if you think to yourself, okay, tomorrow, what would be the absolute most productive day humanly possible tomorrow? You want to map that out, schedule it, map it out. He would do this, he would get this done, he would work at this level of urgency. That would represent 100%. In order for you to beat your villain, or sorry, to get 1 point, you have to match that level of operating or surpass it, right? Or surpass or do more than you thought was even possible. If you do that, congratulations, you won 1 point. If you had a really good day, but you could have done better and your villain kind of still beat you, they get 1 point. The first to score 100 points wins. Okay, so what does this do? Number one, it forces you to operate at a very high level. Number two, it also forces you to do this for 100 days. So again, you might win 2 in a row, and then your villain might win 3 in a row. You might win 1, your villain might win 1. You're in a constant battle. If you're able to do this, and if you're able to operate 100% of your potential for 100 days, and you're able to beat your villain, you're operating at levels that most entrepreneurs, most people on the planet simply cannot operate at. Okay, the level of discipline that you have, the level of willpower and mental fortitude is going to be unreal, or it would be unreasonable not for you to crush every single goal that you have. It doesn't matter if your goal is to make 10K a month or even 1 million a month, 2 million, 3 million a month. It doesn't matter what your goal is, or even if it's to be the best athlete in a specific field that you can be. Like, if you can do this, this is Kobe Bryant levels of obsession and work, okay? And it's all going to be unique depending on what your goal is. If you can beat your villain in a game of 100, again, those are 100 days. Again, you might do this for, let's say, 180 days or 6 months. So he wins 80, you win 100, but you still win. Then those 6 months were probably the most productive 6 months of your life. So you want to make this a permanent habit to play the game every single day. The way you do that is with a daily doc, which I'll give you in a second. Obviously, with our service, we have a free trial, free 7 days accountability service. We map this out for you every single day. So you're competing against that person every day. And even if you lose, you're more productive than you are right now. So you want to really stretch yourself as much as possible. But here's how you do it, guys. Here's how you do it. And you know what? Before I even go into the process, I want to say that when you wake up early, and again, highly recommend you to wake up early. Not everybody's an early bird, but highly recommended. It's always good to set aside, before you check your phone and even before you drink your coffee and you kind of get all buzzed up in the morning, you sit in silence in the morning. You sit in silence. Your mind is fresh. You have no thoughts. You're there. You're visualizing your goals. You're visualizing the life that you want to achieve. And you're thinking about your villain. You're thinking about this character. What would they do today? And you're trying to map them out. You're diving into your assumptions. You're assuming you have the life that you already want. You feel gratitude for it and all that good stuff. If you're able to do this, and you're able to get a journal and write down anything that comes to your mind, what you're basically doing is you're creating some space, maybe for 10, 15, 20 minutes before you start to work, right? And you're diving into the assumptions. You know what? I am the person that I want to be. You're thinking to yourself, you're calibrating your consciousness. I am that person right now. I am my villain. I can beat my villain. I'm better than my villain. I can beat this person right now. What's going to happen is you want to ask your heart or God or whatever you believe in, whatever your beliefs are, for guidance. What should I do? What's my next step? And if you do this correctly, you're going to get some nudges. You're going to get some intuitions of like, you know what, maybe I should go to the gym more. Or you know what, maybe I should do this YouTube video. Or you know what, maybe I should speak to this person about this one subject. And you want to write down any thoughts that you receive in the mornings, any downloads from the higher consciousness that you have, whether it's God or your higher self or whoever you believe in, right? Or your heart or your soul. But if you spend time in silence, you will be guided. You will be guided to achieve the things that you want to achieve. So I just want to kind of put that out there as a bonus. But here's the process. What you're going to do, first thing is you're going to map out your villain. Okay, so map them out. Give them a name. I'm going to attach this doc. I've covered it in a bunch of other videos. But what you want to do is you want to create this doc. And I'm not going to cover it here. But you want to create this doc that you look at every single day. And this doc is going to cover your vision. It's going to cover the standards that you hold yourself to. It's going to cover a summary of the person that you want to become, a 3 to 4 sentence summary of the person you want to become, and it should greatly inspire you. You're going to have your standards here, your routines, your habits, your self-image, your default emotional state. What emotional state is that person in? What is their sense of urgency about work? And pretty much everything in between. How they relax and everything else in between that person is going to hold themselves to. So you want to look at that document. Again, I'm going to leave it there below, but that's pretty much basically it. You can pause the video here if you want to take a look at it. Their routines, their mindsets, their habits, any other notes. What does their diet look like? What time do they go to sleep? What's their name? Like, what is that person called? What goals have they already achieved because they've been operating at such a high level? And then you want to keep a scorecard of the game. Again, first to 100 wins. Is it going to be on a whiteboard? Is it going to be on a journal? Is it going to be on a Google Sheet, on an Excel spreadsheet? Like, how do you know who won that day? Like, what does your process actually look like? Because again, guys, if you can win the game, any financial goal that you have is just an afterthought. Your dream life is just an afterthought. Most people, they try to achieve their dream life by trying to achieve their dream life, and that makes no sense. You have to achieve your dream life by doing this first, and then everything else will follow. You want to focus on cause, not effect. Okay? And then number 3, change your routine. Start today. Start today. So here's your morning process. Number 1, you sit in silence for 10 to 20 minutes. You pull up the daily doc and you visualize which is what we just worked on. You visualize your goals and having them already. Number 2, you listen to your heart /God /your soul /consciousness for nudges and guidance and write it down on your journal for about 15 to 20 minutes in the morning. And then you want to mentally model that villain. So take on their beliefs, their worldview, talk like them, walk like them. And number 4, approach the day as if you were that person already. And then number 5, do the exact same thing at night, review, just repeat these 4 things at night. And then, plan the day ahead, plan tomorrow, today, and then start it all over again. You will lose a lot. Again, don't expect to win your first 10 days. You probably won't. Or maybe you win one day and you lose 5, you lose 6. You're getting your ass kicked. And that's okay. The point is, if you keep playing the game, eventually you will win. It's okay for you're down 14-1 and your villain's just destroying you. Guess what? Your villain was destroying you before you ever started playing the game. Your villain has been destroying you your entire life. Your entire life, you could have achieved more. Finally, you wake up to the realization you can actually beat him. So congratulations. So it doesn't matter if you're losing. Some of our clients, clients I've worked with, they've always been losing until they're not anymore. So that's how life works. If you can play this game with your villain, first to 100, and you beat him, you will have reached operating at 100%. Again, sometimes, guys, you do need a coach. You do need a system. You can do this yourself, but if you want to work with me one-on-one, or you want to have a one-on-one coach, check the link in the description for accountability services. But this is something you can do on your own. It just becomes more difficult to do this. But you want to dominate your villain. You want to absolutely destroy him. And if you do this for 2 to 3 years, again, 100 wins is 100 days. But if you get past that and you do this for 2 to 3 years, it's going to be unreasonable not to get rich as fuck and get everything you want out of life. So guys, that's the video. Execute, get a coach, become that guy who operates at 100%, and you'll get absolutely everything you want out of life. That's it.